fucking race in fucking America has oppressed us. Black people also wear a uniform and get on a plane and come to our countries and kill us.
Boo-hoo, cry me a river. I don't really feel any empathy towards you at all because you guys enslaved how many people? The Gulf countries abolished slavery in 1962. Afro-Palestinians, where did they come from? Do you think they just fell out of the sky? The vast majority were descendants of slaves. The Ottomans enslaved thousands of people from Africa and from Europe. And many of these people who owned the slaves and who were participating in the slave trade were Arabs. Let's not act like the Middle East is perfect without the West either. The Coptic Christians who are oppressed in Egypt and who have been oppressed for hundreds and hundreds of years. The Yazidis who got genocided by ISIS. The Assyrians and Chaldeans who had to flee to America to escape oppression inside of the Middle East. The most racist place on earth isn't Europe, it's not America, it's not East Asia, it's not Africa. It's the Middle East. They shoot immigrants at the border in Saudi Arabia. The entire Gulf system is based on Ethiopians who are basically slaves. The vast majority of Arabs who actually live in Arab countries do not like black people. They have a longer history of oppression of black people than Europeans do. So it's even more deeply ingrained inside of their mentality. In fact, the word Abid is synonymous with black people. And yeah, the Europeans definitely hurt black people. I'm not going to deny that. But you guys enslaved black people for longer. In fact, you guys even oppressed Europeans. I don't even think you have a right to moral virtue signal Europeans because you guys enslaved them for thousands of years. I know you guys think history started in 1990 or 1948, but it didn't. It started a lot earlier than that.
I am so glad that this African man gathered this woman up. Thank you so much, good sir. The Black American community truly thanks you. Because am I the only person who gets so tired, right? When non-black people who are not from America use black Americans as a scapegoat, because they'll be sitting there complaining about something American that white Americans are doing, right? But for some reason, the conversation always gets turned into how black Americans are oppressing them too. Like, are you kidding me? Because it really seems a little bit anti-black. You want to know what's the funny thing to me, right? It's 99% of the time, y'all don't even view black Americans as Americans, right? Like, whenever I see somebody post something about America, it's clearly about white people, right? They'll be like, oh, American food is so bland. And then I'll reply and I'll say, African American food is much better than anything you cooking up, baby. And then they'll say, oh, I wasn't talking about African American food, but you said American food. African American food falls under the American umbrella, clearly, right? But what they're not saying is that when they say American, they mean white, okay? So when they say American food, they really mean white people food, right? So 99% of the time, when these people say American, they don't even include black Americans as American, right? But then when they want to talk about colonization and put the blame on somebody, and they scared to blame their actual oppressors, white Americans, then suddenly, that's when everybody's talking about how black Americans are still Americans and we have a role in so and so and so and yada, yada, yada. But any other time, y'all don't even think of us as American. Black Americans are literally in America fighting for our lives. We are literally still getting lynched and it's being ruled as a suicide, right? We are still in situations where we go to a party with all white people. We mysteriously end up dead. Nobody know nothing and everybody's like, oh, well, no foul play, right? We could get killed by the cops in this country and don't nothing happen to the cops, right? We are literally getting a genocide committed against us right now. And you talking about, oh, golly gee willikers, yeah, black Americans are oppressing us. Girl, ain't nobody thinking about you. What? Y'all, you know what? Y'all are real scary. That's what it really boils down to. Because y'all are too scared to confront y'all actual oppressors, white Americans. White Americans are the ones going to your country and doing all of this foul stuff. That is the facts, right? Y'all too scared to say that, though. So y'all just use black Americans as a scapegoat. Be fucking for real. Black Americans make up 13% of the United States of America. And we make up like 1% of any leadership like roles, bro. We're by and large not the political candidates or anything like that, right? So the people making these decisions and most of the people in the military are not black Americans. Yet and still, somehow we are receiving most of the blame for this. Like, what is going on, bro? Then you want to know what the wild thing is, right? Y'all talk all this shit about how black Americans are oppressing you. Oh, well, black Americans are still American. They're part of the American industrial so and so, right? Then, of course, white people is actually the ones in y'all countries tearing it up, right? So then y'all come to America as refugees, right? And then you're racist and oppress black Americans. The same black Americans you pretend are oppressing you in your home country. When you come to America, what's the first thing your stupid ass does? Oppress black Americans with racism, because this is the reality. This is the facts. We live in a world of white supremacy. Black Americans are the antithesis of whiteness. So you, with your slightly tanned skin and your bone straight hair, you are much closer to the beauty standard and the acceptable image and whatever of whiteness than I am as a black person. And you know that. And you use it to your advantage at the first chance that you get. As soon as you get the opportunity, you step into white supremacy and you use it to oppress black Americans. But then you will turn around and gaslight us, talk about we the ones oppressing y'all. It's crazy the switcheroonies that y'all be pulling. This is the reality. I've gotten on YouTube and I've talked about the acceptable group of blackness, right? So non-black people, of course, they cannot only hate some groups of black people. They hate all of us, right? But very rarely will they come right out and simply say, yeah, I'm racist. I don't like black people, right? What they usually do is they find the acceptable group to hate in whatever context. So this woman figured that the acceptable group of black people to hate and be racist to and use as a scapegoat was black Americans. And she painted it as, oh, well, they're Americans. They're oppressing me, so and so and so. And I'm so glad that this African man didn't fall for it. Because do you really think for 1 second that this Middle Eastern girl only has a problem with black Americans? Really? Why they in the Middle East enslaving black Africans today? Really? Okay. So like I said, I'm really glad that this African man didn't fall for it. And I hope that more black people stop falling for this. Because baby, let me tell you something. They hate all of us.